April 15th, 2011, tax day. A man sits at his computer in Columbus, Ohio. He follows the same routine he has followed for 3 years. He logs into Full Tilt Poker. He checks his balance, $47,000, his entire bankroll, thousands of hours at virtual tables. 6 months earlier, he quit his accounting job to play poker full-time. His wife thinks it's a mistake. He believes it's a career. He clicks to join a $5, $10 no-limit hold'em table. The screen goes black. A banner replaces the homepage. Blue and white, Department of Justice seal. The message is clear. This domain has been seized by the Federal Bureau of Investigation. He refreshes the page. The banner remains. He refreshes again. Nothing changes. Across the United States, the same moment is happening. Players log in from California, Massachusetts, Illinois, Texas. Bedrooms, apartments, college dorms, they all see the same notice. On the 2+2 poker forums, traffic surges. Moderators struggle to manage thousands of new posts. 5 domains are seized. 76 bank accounts are frozen across 14 countries. 11 individuals are indicted. PokerStars returns player funds within 2 weeks. Every dollar. Payments arrive by April 29th. Full Tilt promises repayment by May 15th. May 15th arrives. No payments are made. Full Tilt owes $390 million to players worldwide. It has $60 million in its bank accounts, a deficit of $330 million. The missing funds were distributed to company owners over 4 years. The professionals who represented the brand had already been paid. This is the story of how 23 poker shareholders received $443,860,529.89 while player balances went unfunded. How a company built on the credibility of professional players failed to protect customer deposits. And how almost none of them went to prison. September 2003, Los Angeles. Ray Bitar runs a trading office. He's worked the Pacific Stock Exchange since he was 16 years old. Numbers are his language. Risk is his specialty. He understands markets the way musicians understand scales. One of his clients is a UCLA PhD student named Chris Ferguson. Long hair down to his waist, a beard that reaches his chest. He throws playing cards fast enough to slice bananas in midair. Demonstrating card-throwing physics on television talk shows. They call him Jesus. Ferguson won the 2000 World Series main event, $1.5 million. 6 WSOP bracelets total. But he's not just a player, he's a mathematician. His father teaches game theory at UCLA. Chris spent 18 years at that university, 5 as an undergraduate, 13 as a graduate student. His PhD thesis applied computer science to poker strategy. Ferguson has an idea. Online poker is exploding. PokerStars and Party Poker are minting money. Millions of players, billions in rake. But they are faceless corporations. No personality, no authenticity, no stars. What if the pros owned the site? What if customers could sit at virtual tables with legends? What if trust was the product? They recruit Howard Lederer, chess prodigy from New Hampshire, son of the famous linguist Richard Lederer. Learned poker at New York's Mayfair Club, the same underground room that produced Dan Harrington and Eric Seidel. Started as an errand boy, buying sandwiches for the regulars. Stayed until he was one of the best players in the world. 2 WSOP bracelets, 2 WPT titles. They call him the Professor. May 2004, a meeting in Phil Ivey's suite at the Golden Nugget. Connie Gowan claims she was promised 1% ownership. 3 years later, when distribution checks go out, she gets nothing. She sues for $40 million. The case is dismissed on technical grounds, but her core allegation that owners were extracting massive distributions is vindicated entirely when the DOJ releases its findings. July 10, 2004, FullTiltPoker.com goes live. 23 shareholders divide the company. Ferguson takes the largest stake, 19.2%. Lederer takes 8.6%. Bitar, as CEO, takes 7.8%. Ray First takes 2.6%. And the rest goes to poker's biggest names: Phil Ivey, Gus Hansen, Jennifer Harmon, John Huanda, Patrick Antonius, Alan Cunningham, Eric Lindgren. The corporate structure spans 4 jurisdictions: Tiltware LLC in California, Pocket Kings Limited in Dublin with 1,000 employees, Colima Corporation in Aruba holding the gambling license, additional shells in the Isle of Man, layer upon layer upon layer. The pitch to players is simple: play with the pros. The pitch to investors is simpler: trust the pros. October 13, 2006, Congress passes the Unlawful Internet Gambling Enforcement Act. Party poker exits the U.S. market overnight. Stock crashes 60% in a single day. Publicly traded companies flee. Wall Street panics. Full Tilt stays. So does PokerStars. Millions of American players need somewhere to go. Full Tilt absorbs them. The traffic doubles, then doubles again, then doubles again. By January 2011, Full Tilt controls 21.6% of the global online poker market, second only to PokerStars. Over 10,000 players at the cash game tables simultaneously. More than $4 billion in transactions annually. The marketing muscle is enormous. Full Tilt sponsors high-stakes poker on GSN, Poker After Dark on NBC, the $1 Million Cash Game on Sky Sports, Late Night Poker in the UK. Combined advertising spend across the 3 indicted poker sites exceeds $200 million. But the real draw is the games themselves. Full Tilt becomes the stage for the highest stakes ever played online. The Rail Heaven feature lets thousands of spectators watch nosebleed games with blinds up to $500 and $1,000. Entire fortunes change in single sessions. Railbirds gather to watch their heroes battle. November 21, 2009, Patrick Antonius and Victor Isildur I Blom contest the largest online pot in history, $1,356,947. Pot limit Omaha at $500, $1,000. Antonius wins with a straight flush. Phil Ivey wins $7 million on the site in 2008, another $6 million in 2009. He's paid $920,000 per month just to show up. January 2010, Full Tilt launches Rush Poker, a revolutionary fast fold format that moves players to a new table instantly upon folding. 4 times more hands per hour. Every major operator eventually copies the concept. Tom Dwan issues the Durr Challenge, $1.5 million to anyone who can beat him over 50,000 hands at $200, $400 minimum. 2 challengers try. Patrick Antonius reaches 39,436 hands, down $2 million. Daniel Cates is up $1.25 million after 19,335 hands when Black Friday intervenes. Neither challenge is ever completed. For the players watching at home, Full Tilt isn't just a poker site, it's a dream factory. The UIGEA doesn't make online poker illegal. It makes processing payments for it a federal crime, up to 5 years in prison. Major banks refuse to touch gambling transactions. Visa and MasterCard block the codes. Full Tilt goes underground. The method is crude but effective. Create hundreds of fake online merchants, jewelry stores, golf ball retailers, pet food shops, sporting goods wholesalers. Route player deposits through phantom businesses using falsified merchant category codes. A player thinks they're buying golf equipment. The bank thinks they're buying golf equipment. Only the payment processor knows the truth. Daniel Tsvetkov runs Intabill out of Costa Rica. He's 25 years old, Australian, processes $543 million in gambling transactions, owns a $28 million mansion on the Gold Coast, Lamborghinis in the garage, a private jet on call, throws parties that make tabloid headlines. Then, Intabill collapses. Early 2009, Tsvetkov has been siphoning funds. He owes creditors $143 million. Full Tilt alone loses somewhere between $40 and $52 million. April 16, 2010, FBI arrests Svetkov at a business conference in Las Vegas. He faces 75 years in prison. 4 months later, he's cooperating. Hands over 90,000 documents, names, dates, account numbers, transaction records, everything the FBI needs to build their case. Full Tilt needs a new solution. Chad Elley approaches John Campos, vice chairman of SunFirst Bank in St. George, Utah, a small community bank battered by the real estate crash, desperate for capital. Campos agrees to process poker transactions for a $10 million investment in the bank and a $20,000 personal bonus. SunFirst processes over $200 million in poker transactions through shell companies with names like 777 LP and Powder Monkeys LLC. Kathy Scharf starts her first week as the bank's compliance officer. She discovers the scheme immediately, reports it to management. They tell her the bank will fail without the illegal income. Criminal lawyers threaten her with arrest if she talks. She keeps a journal, documents everything, cooperates with federal regulators, becomes the whistleblower who helps bring everything down. Full Tilt never segregates player funds from operating funds. Never. From April 2007 onward, the company treats player deposits as its own money, uses them for operating expenses, marketing campaigns, executive salaries, and distributions to owners. Between April 2007 and April 2011, Full Tilt pays its 23 shareholders a combined $443,860,529.89 directly from player funds. The number is precise to the penny. The Department of Justice counted every dollar. Chris Ferguson, $87.5 million allocated, $42 million collected. Howard Lederer, $42 million. Ray Bitar, $41 million. Ray First, $11.7 million. Phil Ivey, $920,000 per month, plus $10 million in loans from the company. He repaid only $4 million. His divorce filings revealed the full scope of his compensation. The remaining $260 million goes to approximately 18 other unnamed owners, much of it transferred to accounts in Switzerland and offshore jurisdictions. Fall 2010, Full Tilt loses its ability to collect U.S. deposits. The banks are too scared. The payment processors are disappearing. The walls are closing in. Rather than shut down American operations, Bitar orders employees to credit player accounts anyway. Phantom credits, digital money backed by nothing. Players gamble with funds that don't exist. When phantom credit players lose, their losses inflate the accounts of other players who believe they hold real money. The liabilities spiral beyond anything Full Tilt can cover. Over $130 million in phantom credits enter the system. June 12, 2011, 2 months after Black Friday. Internal communications from Bitar. At this point, we can't even take a $5 million run. Lederer reports to colleagues that approximately $6 million remains in the bank, against more than $300 million in player obligations. The website still tells players your funds are safe and secure. The indictment is sealed March 10, 2011. April 15th, tax day, it unseals. The poker world calls it Black Friday. U.S. Attorney Preet Bharara holds a press conference in Manhattan. His words are precise. These defendants concocted an elaborate criminal fraud scheme, alternately tricking some U.S. banks and effectively bribing others to assure the continued flow of billions in illegal gambling profits. FBI Assistant Director Janice Fedarchik adds, the defendants bet the house that they could continue their scheme, and they lost. PokerStars regains its domain April 20th, begins processing player cash-outs April 26th. Funds arrive in American bank accounts April 29th. 14 days, every U.S. player made whole. Full Tilt promises repayment by May 15th. Nothing comes. June 29th, 2011. The Alderney Gambling Control Commission suspends Full Tilt's license. Worldwide shutdown. Now, international players are locked out too. On the 2+2 poker forums, moderator Mason Malmuth recalls, I found out about it when I looked at our website and saw the massive number of people on it. Players document devastating stories, entire bankrolls frozen, rent unpayable, careers destroyed overnight. September 20th, 2011, Barara files an amended complaint, adds Lederer, Ferguson, and Ray First as civil defendants. At the press conference, he delivers the verdict that will define the scandal forever. Full Tilt was not a legitimate poker company. It was a global Ponzi scheme. He continues, Full Tilt insiders lined their own pockets with funds picked from the pockets of their most loyal customers while blithely lying to both players and the public alike. Ray Bitar flees to Ireland after Black Friday, stays 15 months. July 2, 2012, he surrenders at JFK Airport, released on $2.5 million bail after 1 week in custody. November 2012, his attorneys file a motion. Bitar has been diagnosed with Class 4 heart failure. He needs an urgent transplant. The odds of survival, they argue, are a coin flip at best. April 15, 2013, exactly 2 years after Black Friday, Bitar pleads guilty via video link from California. Too ill to travel. 2 felonies, maximum sentence 35 years. Judge Loretta Preska says she would have imposed substantial imprisonment under normal circumstances, but prison, she concludes, would be tantamount to a death sentence. Sentence, time served, 1 week. Forfeiture, $40 million, 18 bank accounts, homes in California, Indiana, and Bermuda, equity in 32 separate businesses. He is reportedly left nearly penniless. October 2015, 2.5 years later, Bitar marries Jackie Lucas at the Taglian complex in Hollywood. The photographer calls it an amazing $1 million wedding. Belly dancers, fog machines, the bride carried in on a gold float. Photos circulate online. Bitar looks slim, healthy, smiling. His attorney had told a federal judge he might not survive into 2014. Whether Bitar ever received a heart transplant remains unknown. He has made no public appearances since 2013. September 2012, Howard Lederer sits for an interview, 7 parts, 3.5 hours. They call it the Lederer Files. He claims he learned of the financial crisis on April 7, 2011, 1 week before Black Friday. Says he was never shown a balance sheet, never saw the numbers, blames Bitar, blames the payment director. For 3.5 hours, he explains, deflects, contextualizes. Then, in approximately 15 seconds, he apologizes. As an owner of Full Tilt Poker, I take full responsibility for what happened. For that, I am truly sorry. Daniel Negreanu responds, justice will only be served once Howard Lederer has been put behind bars. December 2012, Lederer settles with the DOJ, forfeits approximately $2.5 million, 2 Las Vegas properties, 2 bank accounts, a 1965 Shelby Cobra Roadster, $1.25 million in cash, no admission of wrongdoing. He collected $42 million. He forfeited 6 cents on the dollar. June 2016, he returns to the World Series of Poker, largely shunned. When asked for comment, no thanks, I've made my statement. After 2016, Howard Lederer disappears from the poker scene entirely. Chris Ferguson says nothing for 7 years. No statements, no interviews, no public appearances. Total silence from the largest shareholder of a company accused of stealing $444 million. His nickname in the poker community shifts from Jesus to Judas. February 2013, Ferguson settles with the DOJ, forfeits $2.35 million, and reportedly forgives $14 million the company still owed him. No admission of wrongdoing. 2016, he appears at the World Series without announcement. When asked about an apology, "What are you talking about?" No comment. Security is increased at his tables after threats. 2017, Ferguson delivers an astonishing performance. 17 cashes at the WSOP, 6 more at WSOP Europe, wins his 6th bracelet, takes the 2017 Player of the Year title. The man the DOJ accused of helping steal $444 million claims poker's highest individual honor, without ever apologizing. May 23, 2018, Ferguson finally releases a video, 42 seconds, read from a teleprompter, comments disabled. "I deeply regret not being able to prevent Black Friday from happening. I sincerely apologize that it took as long as it did." The video receives 27,000 views in 20 hours, 1 like. Shane Schleger tweets, "Is this Chris Ferguson apologizing? Or is this AI created by Chris Ferguson apologizing?" Ferguson collected $42 million. His apology lasted 42 seconds, roughly $1 million per second. July 31, 2012, PokerStars announces a settlement. Total payment, $731 million, $547 million forfeiture to the U.S. government, $184 million directly to international Full Tilt players. PokerStars acquires Full Tilt's assets, software, brand, player database, domain names. The company that was indicted alongside Full Tilt becomes its savior. A French investment group, Groupe Bernard Tapie, had tried to acquire Full Tilt first. They signed an $80 million deal in September 2011. It collapsed in April 2012 when the DOJ demanded full player repayment within 90 days. Tapie couldn't meet the deadline. PokerStars could. The Garden City Group administers American claims, 9 waves of payments over 3 years, approximately $114 million total. Over 45,000 U.S. players made whole. April 2017, leftover funds are redirected to compensate Absolute Poker and Ultimate Bet victims. PokerStars' forfeiture money ends up paying back the customers of 3 different companies. August 1, 2014, Amaya Gaming acquires PokerStars and Full Tilt for $4.9 billion, the largest online gambling acquisition in history. February 25, 2021, Full Tilt is officially shuttered, the brand erased. All 11 defendants pled guilty, 0 trials, 0 acquittals. Ira Rubin receives the harshest sentence, 36 months. The judge calls him an unreformed con man. Chad Ailey gets 5 months. John Campos gets 3. Most others walk with time served or probation. Isai Scheinberg, founder of PokerStars, surrenders in January 2020 after 9 years as a fugitive. Sentence, time served, and a $30,000 fine. The last defendant to resolve his case. Phil Ivey is inducted into the Poker Hall of Fame in 2017. Wins his 11th bracelet in 2024. Net worth, approximately $100 million. He was never charged. Tom Dwan never owned equity. He was a sponsored pro. 4 days after Black Friday, he pledged $1 million from his own pocket if Full Tilt didn't repay players. Asked Bitar for permission, was told no. Did it anyway. His reputation survived. Ray Bitar has made no public appearances since 2013. Howard Lederer has not been seen at a poker table since 2016. Chris Ferguson still plays. 23 people drained $443,860,529.89 from player deposits. Their combined time in prison totaled less than many drug sentences. The company promised players they could trust the pros. They were right. They could trust them to take everything.